Hi, welcome to the Sifu Mimi Chan Show. Thanks for joining the conversation. Jenny Umbhau is known for her electrifying portrayal of Lai on the hit series Warrior. Her jaw-dropping stunt work leaves audiences on the edge of their seats. I'm so grateful to finally hear Jenny's lovely voice as we discuss her journey from her gymnastics beginnings to the adrenaline-fueled world of stunt performing. She also shares her love for Cape Town and working as Jenna Ortega's double on Netflix's Wednesday. Warrior fans, there is a spoiler if you haven't seen season 3, but please listen on for a fun-filled conversation with Jenny. I hope you enjoy the conversation. My favor as usual is to please continue to share this podcast with others, and if you would like, you can rate it and leave me feedback. If you would like to help keep this podcast going and support the work I do, you can become a patron of the show by visiting my website or patreon.com/SifuMimiChan. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. For comments or suggestions, reach out on social media at SifuMimiChan. Now, on with the show. Hello, Jenny. So nice to finally meet you.
Hi, it's lovely to meet you too. It's been a while.
It's been a while. We've been communicating for, I think, almost a year. I want to say, probably over a year at this point. But
over a year.
I got to say, it's really exciting to hear your voice because everything I get to see of you is all action. And I mean, I follow you on IG and occasionally you'll have like a couple things, but really, whether you're flipping through the air or, beating someone up, we get a little bit of vocals, but wow, it's really exciting to hear your voice.
That's actually crazy. I never thought of that. Yes, this is my voice. Hello.
And I gotta say, it's been really exciting because I've been so fortunate to talk to so many of the Warrior family cast, and we're coming full circle, and I'm trying to get everybody on the show. But you've really been one of my favorite characters, mainly because I really feel like, not on the show, like in your real life, you basically, to me, are a superhero. Like watching you physically do the things that you can do is always amazing to me. I'm a martial artist, and I for like a very short period of my life, I did stunt work as well. Nowhere near as good as you are doing, by the way.
No, don't say that. Don't say. I say everybody can do stunts. That's the general rule here. But I appreciate it. You're making me blush. I'm like,
oh, well, I mean, so obviously you have a really in-depth gymnastics background. I'd love to hear more about like what kind of started you on the path of movement, because actually movement's what I'm passionate about. And obviously stunt work is exciting, but I mean, clearly you've been doing movement from before. And I know you have a Cirque du Soleil background, which I want to talk about as well.
Yes. So actually, when I was in pre-K, I don't know what you guys call that.
Yes.
But my parents put me in ballet classes. And within the first week, the ballet teacher said to my parents, your child is way too hyperactive. I was doing cartwheels in the background. And they said, I think gymnastics would be better. So I think at the age of like 5, I joined my first gymnastics class. And it's been my love ever since. And I did it for, I would like to say 12 years. So I did it throughout my schooling career and a little bit after schooling too.
Okay. But, amazing. Yeah. And did you do like competitions and everything too, or was it mainly like class? No. That's serious. No wonder you're so, I mean, I figured you did, but sometimes it's more like performance based and everything. So, but clearly you are, you're at the very, very high level of gymnastics.
Well, it was when I was younger, I peaked really early. So all my coaches wanted me to push for the 2012 Olympics, which would have then been London, right?
Okay.
Yes. So we were kind of working towards that. The problem is with South African gymnastics, we're not funded very well by the government. And also skill-wise, like we weren't quite there. And obviously I was becoming a teenager as well. All the injuries started happening. And I think from about 13 to 14 onwards, my gymnastics kind of did a little bit of this, but I peaked really at my younger age, and which is sad, but I'm grateful because now I have permanent skills that I can still do today. you know?
I think it's hilarious because there's always this ongoing running joke about women's gymnastics, and it's like once you're 12, you're starting to go downhill, and you're just like, wait, what?
What? I know.
Men's gymnastics they get a little more time, but I don't think people realize the physical toll it takes on your body. And for you to still be doing what you're doing, and you're still quite young, but in terms of gymnastics, you're like, oh, those are just the basics for what you were made to do before, right? But now, I mean, I see what you're doing now, and I mean, I think it's just phenomenal, but I can only imagine like when you're on the, like on all the different apparatus and everything, it's really, really grueling. What would you say in your training, like kind of growing up, was one of the most challenging aspects for you? I know you were quite young, of course, at the time.
Yes. Well, I think it was because I dove into it head first. So we had 4 to 5 hours of training every day, even on a Saturday. So I was taken out of school for that last 2 hours, which, I was granted because we knew we were becoming like South African competing gymnasts. So I lost a little bit of the normalcy of being a child, but at the same time, I don't regret it ever. And it was challenging. I had the thing, Simone Biles had it too. It was called the twisties, where you forget how to twist. Yes. Yes. I had that too. I forgot how to do a basic back tuck, just because I think it's so demanding on your mental state and all of that, especially as a child, like to be able to understand it and not be overwhelmed by it. I think that was hard, but I'm super grateful I did it because, today, like I said, I can still do the very basics, which the very basics to the average human isn't easy per se.
No, I would say not. It's definitely not easy per se.
You would be surprised what the average human can do, though. So for me, I'm surrounded by the most amazing people. So I look at myself and I go, oh my gosh.
Yeah, you're in kind of like an elite class of movement professionals, right? Whether they're martial artists or gymnasts or just stunt professionals. I mean, it's kind of a different thing. I think if you come back to the world where we're just humans and we don't have like a layout step out like you do or front aerials, like I will say I landed one in my lifetime. One.
Oh man. Oh, that's amazing.
There's no way I could ever do it again. I'm like, oh, my back's so tight. Yeah, like those days are gone. But I think it's interesting because I'm sure like you still kind of have a love for gymnastics. Do you ever watch it like on when the Olympics are on and things? So do you feel like the dynamic, especially since there's been so much controversy with mental health and even abuse and all the whole dynamic, do you feel like those athletes are getting better support than maybe like back when you were kind of coming up? Because you said, we had the twisties, we had these things. How did they help you cope with that? And do you think that maybe that's changed now especially with Simone Biles? Her being an advocate is huge.
That's a very interesting question. Actually, I do think they have more support now just because it's more frequently happening. Because back when we had the twisties, it wasn't the twisties. It was more just what's wrong with me. Why can't I do it? And nobody really could explain what happened. But now that it's become such a, like a familiar thing to gymnasts, where you do get the twisties and you do have a tendency to have mental problems, I guess, just because it's so demanding. So I'd say the support system is a lot better now. Though I also appreciate the way that I was trained as a kid, because there was a lot more hardcore discipline, you do it or else. Yeah.
Amazing. And so kind of like you mentioned, you didn't have the typical childhood. Like I'm also totally in love with South Africa. I've been talking to Langley quite a bit. I'm coming to Cape Town if everything goes well in August.
Wow.
So
Okay.
I hope. So I would just love to hear like what you felt culturally, because I know that you have multi-nationalities as well. And like, what was that dynamic like for you growing up?
Growing up, it was a bit hard. I was one of maybe 2 Asians in my school, and I never saw myself as being different until I realized that there weren't very many people looking like me. However, that being said, I am also half. So I don't look full Asian. People are a little bit confused as to what I am.
Right.
But I'd say like growing up was a bit hard. I got teased for the food that I brought, and I got teased for being a little bit different, It was hard, but it also made me stronger into the person that I am today, I think. Without that, I don't think I'd be as proud of my culture. I think I'm more so Japanese in my brain than I am anything else. So I really hold on to that, like that aspect of me, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. And, that's something that I'm really curious about because here in the US, one of the things I've been working on so extensively is pushing for education in Asian American history and like knowing that, Asians are worldwide. And it doesn't mean that, like, because I have Chinese heritage, like I'm from China, like I'm very American, right? And so for you being like, I'm South African, but I have Japanese heritage and it's okay to celebrate and be both things, like all things can be true. And I think it's interesting because again, the dynamic back when you grew up and hopefully now, like what did you bring for lunch, for example, that people made fun of you for?
Well, my mom often made like the rice with the nori and the egg with like soya sauce, like in a little bento box, or like a chicken katsu on rice and things like that. And that was my favorite kind of food growing up, But to other kids who had a white piece of sandwich with the cheese on, they were like, what is that?
I had a similar experience, but it's funny because now, like, people would want your lunch. Now it would be like the in thing, right? Like, I have nori with my rice today.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, okay, girl, you do you.
Right. I mean, I love it. I feel like hopefully that means there's some progress. I mean, Langley and I often talk about the dynamic in South Africa and how there is still like things to be working on, right? But at the same time, we just love that we're hopefully kind of moving forward. Now, I'd love to hear about Cirque du Soleil because I have like I've just always loved those shows growing up, especially because it just took like gymnastics and dance and all of these wonderful stunts basically, but put it in this performance that was unlike anything you would ever see. And it made it so theatrical and really like elevated. And I love that you have that background. And my husband and I, we both do training and everything and teach martial arts. And one year, the Cirque du Soleil team that came through, they wanted to learn some martial arts or Tai Chi and things. And so we actually went and did some instruction. And I love talking to the performers because, they have to do everything though. They got to do their own makeup. They got to do, it's just, I don't think people realize how much you have to do as a Cirque du Soleil performer. So I'd love for you to share with our audience because that's grueling as well. Like, how did you get into it? And tell me about that.
So I actually auditioned for the Cirque du Soleil, like database a really long time ago. It was five years prior to me actually getting called.
Wow.
So I had auditioned as a dancer and we had 2 extremely grueling days of like 8 different styles of dancing. Now, I'm not a professional dancer, but that being said, I was like, I'm going to try it. Let me see what I can do. And luckily, there was a little section where you can do like your specialty, which for me was gymnastics, acro-y sort of vibe, And with that, there was about 250 performers that came and only 8 of us were chosen.
Wow.
So, we got put onto the database and they said, we'll be in contact. It could be tomorrow. It could be 10 years from now,
Yeah.
And 5 years later, I got a call saying they want to start a stunt show and whether I'd be interested. And immediately I was like, Cirque du Soleil has always been a dream of mine, It doesn't matter how small or big my role would be. Like, I just wanted to do it. It was going to be in Montreal for 5 weeks and then Vegas for however long the contract would have lasted. So I joined in and it was a brand new show. So it's not like, an established show like Car, It's a brand new stunt show that they wanted to come up with, be more hip with the young people.
Yes.
And we started the creation, like part of it in Montreal, and then we took it to Vegas. It was a really high potential show. The problem was, I think it wasn't, how do I put this in a way? How do I put this in a way that's not going to completely bash it?
Right.
It wasn't great. Like really, the show itself, watching it was not good. But the potential we had to make it really good was there. It was just, I think, too many cooks in the kitchen. Not
the
really
execution wasn't there.
Yes. And we had amazing performers on the show, so it was a bit of a waste. But I got to spend a year and a bit in Vegas, and it was the best experience of my life. Absolutely.
Yeah. I want to say it was 1999. I'm
Yeah.
sitting on the plane on my way to China to do some training and things like that. And I'm sitting next to this couple, and then we start talking, and they're like, "Well, what do you do?" I said, "Oh, I do martial arts. I've been doing that since
Yeah.
I was 3, and I'm going to China because I have affiliations over there, and I'm just going to take a month to, do some things." And they're like, "Really?" And they hand me their card, and I wish I had the name in front of me. It was Fabrizio or something, and they were like
Yeah.
basically Cirque du Soleil directors. And I was like,
Ah,
"Oh, wow, really?" And they're like,
oh
"Yeah,
my
if
gosh.
you're ever interested, send us a video of your stuff." And of course, I never did because
Why?
I know, because it was just always like, I knew that I would have to uproot, and I just wasn't ever ready because I'm very rooted to my Wallam Temple, which of course, fast forward like in a year from there, I ended up
Yeah.
doing that. I went to LA and I did stunts and things, but like,
Yes.
I don't know. I think I always saw the Cirque du Soleil performers as this like you, like flying through the air and
Oh
doing all these amazing things.
no.
But it
Oh,
was
you would have
funny
been
because
amazing.
oh yeah, you haven't even seen me. Like I could do maybe like, walk across the stage and wave. No. But yeah, it was
No.
kind of funny because it was just this thing. And then later on when I think it was CA, when they were doing
Yeah.
that, they'd call our school to ask for martial artists and things like that. So we kind of would send
Oh,
people, but at that time I was just too old. I was like, yeah, I can't go.
you're
I
never
can't,
too
I
old.
can't,
No.
I can't go do a show for 8 hours a day. Like it's pretty
Ah,
intense, right? So
yeah.
but it's just so funny because I'm like, oh, I can only imagine the experience just to even work with the caliber of people, right? The
Yes.
community of other
Oh, for
performers must have been
sure.
amazing.
It was. It was once in a lifetime, and I would do it all over again if I could. I just would like more say in how the show goes because I think they just never listen to the performers who
Mm,
all of us have done live shows or we did stunts. So it's just
yeah.
like listen to the people who have done it for these years, and kind of just put it into play because it could have been amazing. It really could have been
Yes.
amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's such a rare thing to hear, actually, because usually you just think Cirque du Soleil and all the shows are
Oh,
a success, but that's
right?
not necessarily always the
No,
case, right? But
no,
I mean,
no.
the thing is, it allowed you and freed you to do other things.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
tell me how you got involved with, Brett Chan and their team. Did that come first, or did the Warrior experience? Was that all kind of? Did you start off in stunts earlier than that, or how did that all
Yes.
come to be?
Yes. So actually, stunts and commercials and modeling and stuff like that happened 11 years ago. Yes, it happened 11 years ago.
Yeah.
And I had met Brett on season 1 and 2 of Warrior. So that was
Okay.
before Cirque.
Okay.
Yes, that was
Oh,
just
that was
before Cirque.
before Cirque. Okay, okay. I'm
Yes.
trying to get my
So,
timeline there. Yeah.
yes, no. So basically, like my first 5 years of my career were very spotty. I was doing dailies here. I wasn't really
Okay.
established as anything. I was growing.
Right, right, right.
And then Warrior season 1 came, and my career kind of just floop. It went uphill.
Yes.
And then on season 2, the reason Lai gets left in the farm with Nelly is because I had to go to Cirque.
Oh,
Yes.
okay, okay.
Yes. So I had
Understood.
spoken to JT, who was the writer, producer, and I had told him, listen, I've got this huge opportunity coming up. At that time, it was season 2, so we were quite established. I was getting big fights, and I was like, listen, this is probably once in a lifetime. I'm probably never going to get this opportunity again. What should I do? And he looked at me and he said, if you were my daughter, I'd tell you to go. And he's like, we'll do something about Lai. Don't worry about it. And so they kind of rewrote the script a little bit for me. And that's so I didn't get killed off, but more just sent away for a little period of time.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
I love this backstory. It's fascinating.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the timeline is always so like unclear to me because I know Warrior started, was it with 2019 or
Yes.
I mean, and
Yeah.
but everything's like earlier and then you guys had the year off and then the year on.
Yes.
I keep saying
Oh.
Warrior just keeps fighting back. Like you guys
Oh
are just
man.
it's nonstop. It's nonstop. And
Oh,
I'm already
it's
gonna
crazy.
say in the pre-roll, like spoiler alert for everyone, but let me tell you how upset I was at the end of season 3 because I was like, "There's no way. I'm sorry. There's no way that he would be able to take her.
No.
I don't buy it."
know. Oh, trust me, I was just as heartbroken. I was like, no, I don't want to. No, not yet.
Yeah,
But you know what?
It was
It's okay.
I know. And so, okay, so that's when you met the Brett Chan team, because you were doing stunts like
Yes.
5 or 4 years before that. Like,
Yes,
and was
yes.
that mostly through South Africa bookings, or is it
Yes.
just, yeah. Oh, wow.
All
Okay.
South African, yeah. So
Awesome.
with Brett, I was actually on another show at the time. We were in the same studios, and I had heard of Warrior. And I was like, I don't know what this is, but I just knew there was a whole Asian team. And for me from South Africa, I'm the only Asian stunt performer. Well, now I think we have like 2 or 3 performers who are Asian, but I was the only Asian stunt performer. So for me, I was like, where's everybody? you know? And I went into their tent, and their training was intense. It was like full on martial arts. I've never done martial arts in my life, and I'm just like, this is my dream. Like, it's happening. And so I kept like kind of forcing myself into the studio. And I said to Brett, like, please, if you ever need an Asian, like, I'm your girl.
Oh.
And yeah. And then lo and behold, he actually called me to double like one of the girls at the beginning, just a little one. And I started to get to know their team, and well, the rest is history, if I could say that.
Amazing. I mean, I love your persistence. I love that. I told Brett the same thing. I said, I'm going to show up and go to this tent because you've told me all about it. Now I get to hear about it from everybody. I was like, I'm just going to show up whenever this comes around. But actually, season 3, I had tried, but it was still COVID precautions and things like that. So I was like, never mind. It's not going to work out. It's a long flight too, to stand outside the tent and be like, let me in.
But we would have let you in anyway, so that's okay.
I would have just stolen someone's uniform and just like, pretended I'm like, hop away, right? Hey, what's up? But I think I'd love to hear your take, though, because I've been talking to everybody, of course, the different cast members on their experience in the stunt tent. And since you're so physical, like clearly you could hang and everything, but you don't have a martial arts background. So what was that transition like for you? Because clearly you use a lot of your acrobatic skills, interlaced with it. But I mean, I always think gymnasts can do anything. Like, to me, it's like, because you have such range of motion, you're able to like, those make the best martial arts, transfer. Like it translates very well. So how difficult was that for you to pick up?
It was hard. And honestly, like Brett Chan, he is by far the most amazing coordinator I've ever worked with. I seriously look up to this guy. If I could ever be a coordinator as good as him, I think like that's my dream, When I came into the gym, I did not know how to hold the sword properly because I was taught the very like piratey sword stuff. So just very blocky, And if you watch, like, I think I have a video somewhere of me training like the sword after I had gotten the corporal eye or whatever. He was like, you need to learn how to do sword. So I just got drilled and drilled and drilled. And my first one was like, I'm watching it sometimes. I'm just like, that's so bad. Like, you really like the body is not moving, as it should. And but in that gym, I learned basically the what I have now is because of Brett, all that I know martial arts wise, all that I know sword wise, all that I know movement in that regard, I owe it to Brett,
Yeah,
he really like fantastic. Drilled me.
Yeah, he seems pretty intense.
He is, it's that intense with love because you know that if you get pushed to that point, it's it's that breaking point, where okay, you're gonna only go up from there. So with Brett, it's like he pushes you because he loves you,
Yes. Yeah. No, I cannot speak highly enough of that team. And like I said, having just even a small window of working with like Hong Kong coordinators, I've worked with different coordinators and stuff, but like, I can just tell, like, once they saw like the work, I was like, I called up my friend who was a writer and had worked with him, I think, on Marco Polo or another show. And I was like, I need to talk to this coordinator. I was like, I need to talk to him because I just love his work. I love his style of choreography. And, so I had Brett on the show. And then from there, I was just like, it's been great to talk to everybody. But yeah, he's just, and I love it. I just love the community that he provides. Like it's a very different thing. Like things weren't really that way when I was in the business.
I don't think it's that way for a lot of coordinators. Still to this day, I've never felt that homey vibe in a team, the way Brett brings people together. It's crazy. I don't know how he does it, but he manages to get such a good team where it's like family, you become family. Yeah. And on top of that, like, I've never met a coordinator who does the coordinating side, so the admin side of stuff, and creates choreography and goes on recce's and does this and performs. I was like, I don't know how he does it. I really don't. It's crazy.
He's very energetic. He is. So
is.
Do you have a favorite episode as Lai? And what was the challenge, in that episode for you?
Ooh, that's a difficult one, because obviously for me, season 3, my big fight with Strickland. I mean, that's every performer and actor's dream. I got a one-on-one fight, and it was just focused on the two of us. You know?
Yeah.
So for me, like, even talking about it now, I have goosebumps, because it's like it's just a dream. It was an absolute dream. It was a long fight. It was really demanding. But then again, season 2's Teddy Boy fight, or the one with Atoy, I mean, it's amazing.
Yes. Oh,
yeah.
So amazing. Too many. Yeah, it's hard to choose. Was it really challenging for you to not have dialogue? Because, I mean, sometimes just having to act and without being able to use words is more challenging. So what was that like for you?
It's very easy. And I'll tell you why. Because as stunt performers, or doubles, you don't say anything. As stunt performers in the background, you have to body act. So for us, it's like second nature, Yeah. And that's why all the actors are like, oh my goodness, so hard to portray like emotion without speaking. And I'm like, but that's what we do every day.
Yeah. I love it. Well, that's a great point though, right? Because you're basically getting your reps in all the time whenever you're doing that. Sure. And as an actor, 100%. Usually there's a script and there's dialogue. Yes. And so they don't have that same practice that you've had, right? And so it's a lot different. So I love that. I love that so much. And now, obviously we've been campaigning for this Warrior season 4, and I don't see how it's not going to happen. I feel like the fans are going to rush the Netflix building, because I mean, they've done it time and time again, right? From Max to HBO to, it's just constant. So I'm really hopeful. And I know that I've had a lot of positive feedback just from my podcast, hearing people email me, text me, and DM me, oh my gosh, this is my 3rd run watching it because I heard your show. I want to make sure people are on it. So, I mean, people are just really showing their love. And the love that you have as a cast, like the community and the family, like it just, something magical does happen on the screen for the show. And so you guys are awesome. So we love watching it, but fast forward, you also had the Wednesday experience with Brett and team. And that was huge. I love the photos because you and Jenny look so cute, like twinning, and how fun was that? Because that was like a completely different type of stunt experience. It's not so martial arts heavy. It's a little more traditional stunt team experience. But how much fun was that to work on? It seemed like a really great show.
It's crazy. I think like I can't complain about my last 6 years. It's just been like the most amazing jobs back to back to back. And with Wednesday, I mean, obviously we came into it not knowing how big it would become. But just knowing that I was going to be on a show with Jason and Brett and one of the other South African stunt guys, Daniel, like I was like, okay, this is cool, So we all kind of just went to it a bit blind because we really didn't know what would come of it. And for me, it was like working with Tim Burton is like, I ticked off the bucket list there. So and at the time, like I didn't really know of Jenna Ortega. I knew her from certain films and stuff, but nothing crazy. And then obviously seeing her become Wednesday, I was in awe. I mean, she's absolutely amazing. She's the perfect Wednesday.
Yeah, Jenna was like, I was like, oh, the casting is so good on this. You just felt all of it. Yeah.
Ridiculous.
It was really good. Yeah.
It was so good. And then on top of that, I got to meet my partner who I'm still with to this day. So for me, it's
magical, very magical. Well, that's also a thing where I think a lot of performers, actors, stunt players, like it's just hard because you're on the move all the time. Like I spoke with Diane and she's like, yeah, we're rarely in the same country at the same time, me and Manny. She's like, he's in London or I'm here. And so, but they're like, we make it work. Sure. And so I love that you found love on Wednesday.
Yes. No, it was amazing. So we did the 7 or 8 months together in Romania. Then he came onto Warrior, thanks to Brett. So he was on Warrior with us as the Irish side of things. And and then we on opposite ends of the earth. Sometimes he's in Vancouver, then I was in Budapest. Now I'm in Ireland and he's going to Hong Kong. So it's really, we miss each other a lot.
Oh my gosh. I know. But it feels like that's what you're used to because you're just always on there. Do you ever have trouble with jet lag? Because I can't even, it takes me days to get over jet lag. This is why I said I can't do the grind anymore. Like I'm past that. I think I would need like 4 days to sleep before I can adjust. Sure. Like, how does that work for you?
It depends. Like for me, when I went to Vancouver, I just went to go and train and to go visit my boyfriend. That was bad. The Cape Town to Vancouver almost killed me. Like for at least a week I was dead.
Okay.
But usually I work within Cape Town to Europe. So that doesn't change. We all stay in the same time zone.
In the same time zone. Okay. Yeah, because the travel I think is just such a challenge to because the work you do is so physically demanding. I don't think people realize too for stunt work, especially the times aren't it's not consistent, right? It's not like you're just a 9 to 5 or whatever. It could be very early in the morning. It could be late at night shoots and they're long. Yeah. Like your days are long.
Sure.
Right?
For sure.
What would you say is challenging for you in that regard in terms of shooting? Like, because I feel like what I recall anyway, it's like when you're doing the action, that's the better part. For me, the waiting was always like,
for sure. I think like even now, like during rehearsals and stuff, it's a 10 to 12 hour day. And sometimes we're not really doing anything. And for me, that's the worst. I'm like, rather keep me like on my feet from the beginning to the end and I'll be fine because then I'll just like knock out at night. But if I'm not doing anything, I get like super tired in between the day. I get super hungry. So I have to start eating, So I think that's the hard part is not moving. Yes.
Yeah. So what's your go-to snack at the craft service table?
In South Africa, biltong, like beef jerky.
Oh, beef jerky.
Yes, but the South African beef jerky, it's not the same.
Biltong
is so much better.
I need to write this down so that I can make a shopping list for when I'm there.
Yes, for sure. Biltong is like this perfect cut of meat that's dried out and cured, and it's amazing. And it's just like pure protein, you're just eating that all day.
Yeah, and you definitely need it for what you're doing. For sure. Do you have? I always ask my performers this because I'm always curious. Like, do you have a prep routine, like right before you're about to shoot, or if you have like a big shoot, like you had the one-on-one fight? Do you have a ritual that you kind of go through, or do you just do your warm-ups, or what is it like you do to kind of prepare?
I think the preparing happens the night before.
Okay.
I always kind of like. My routine pretty much stays the same every day, but I know there's a lot more pressure the night before. So I always kind of go through the choreography in my head like 3 or 4 times because I'm usually stressing at that point. And then in the morning, I just make sure like I have not too much to eat, but just a little bit so that I can sustain throughout the day. And then as soon as we get onto set, I just like go through the choreography with my partner time and time again before we shoot, because sometimes you get onto set and the brain just goes off and you go, I forgot, I forgot my choreography. It happens when you're stressed out so much. It happens, it's just a little like brain fart, but it really happens. So as long as I always do my reps beforehand and I kind of just sit by myself, have my music in, relax, that usually works.
All right, what kind of music are we're listening to?
Oh, my phone is so bipolar. It goes from like super techno to super love songy and like so sad. So it's good because my brain just goes, ha!
You have not changed since pre-K where they said she's too hyper for ballet.
Oh, not at all. Not at all. Yet, if you actually like get to know the real me, I'm super introverted and very quiet.
Right. I get that actually. I actually get that because I'm actually introverted as well. And people are like, no, you're not. I'm like, no, I am. It's like, because your work is a little different.
Yes, of course. I'm glad somebody understands.
I understand. I get you. We're here. I totally get you. It's interesting because like they think, oh no, you're a performer, so you must be extroverted. I'm like, that's not really how that works. Yeah.
No, not at all.
Especially because you need to unwind, right?
For sure, 100%. I was like, as a kid, I think I was the most shy person. I'd always hide behind my parents, and I never wanted to be like the center of attention. So it's weird that I'm doing this now, you know. Yeah. Although like stunt doubling, you can kind of hide your face, so you just, you know, while you're doing the action, like you just hide. So that's cool. But yeah, I think in my everyday life, I'm super shy, super quiet, like, you know, very much to myself. Yeah.
Yeah. Like so then, because in Lie, you know, you obviously it was still a stunt team, but you're an actor on the show and everything. I mean, do you feel like you're going to do more acting in the future, or you really love the stunt world? Or you said really coordinating too.
Yes, could be. I mean, at this point, I don't have a direction yet. Acting would be amazing. It is more stressful for me to learn dialogue and things, especially with my accent. It's so South African, you know, so I have to kind of bounce into the American and the British side more, because if I do this, no one's going to understand where I'm from. But
I love it. I'm like, keep talking to me, Jenny, because it's been so, like, I've been waiting to hear your voice for so long. I'm like, I can't wait to talk to her.
But yeah, so I think acting, more stunts, and then potentially coordinating.
Yeah. Well, you know, all the right people to kind of help guide and lead you. Because when I spoke with Jason, you know, he said, yeah, you know, first let me do this phase of it. And you got to kind of get in there and try it and see if you like it too. Because you may think you want to do it until you're actually in there. But I think that would be really fascinating. Do you have like because I saw that you do a lot of, you know, me and my colleague, we're doing, you know, my fellow stunt men, we're like doing a fight set and you choreographing things. So you've already started to choreograph things, I'm sure. Do you have like a thing in your head that you're like, ooh, if I had a project or even like a 5-minute short, there's something you would like to do?
So much pressure. Yeah, it's the problem.
You redo the Cirque du Soleil show.
Yes, because all of that could have been so good.
Right? Yeah. Just reassemble, call everybody back.
That would be amazing. But I think like for me, I'm still in the phase of, I have a bit of like a imposter syndrome. Mm-hmm. So I don't feel like I'm at the level where I can teach somebody. Okay. Because I mean, myself, I'm not a martial artist. I would hate to teach martial arts. It would be like a, you know, probably no. So I could teach gymnastics, but that doesn't really help very much. You know?
It also takes a really long time. Like, well, you're not going to be able to, if you don't have at least if they have their basics, you know, so.
Yes. Oh, no, for sure. So that's why I think like in that regard, I'm scared to start fight choreography and things because my background is not fighting, you know?
Right.
So yeah, maybe I need to get out of my head with that. I don't know. But as of now, like I enjoy doing things with friends because you can kind of bounce off each other with ideas and stuff.
Yes.
But to do my own fight choreography, I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
I believe in you. I believe in you.
Oh,
I think
thank you.
I feel like it's interesting because people don't realize like nowadays there are kind of stunt schools because you get into a team like Hits International or and you basically had like a masterclass education in it with these shows that you've done, right? So you're getting hours and hours of learning, and even on set, even while filming, you're learning and you're picking up from very experienced individuals. So and like you said, you got really one of the best teachers that you could get. So I'm sure it'll be on the horizon. It doesn't have to be anytime soon, but I would love to see the Jenny recreated Cirque du Soleil special that should have been and could have been all that it could be.
One day, maybe soon. Huh? You never know.
That's true. I mean, at the same time, you could also direct a show and hire the martial artists to teach the martial arts.
That definitely. I think like I put so much pressure into wanting to be like a Brett where he just does everything.
Right, but he's a little unique. Yes.
He's unique. So I'm like, maybe I need to step back and be like, hire your team and kind of create it together. I think that could be nice too.
Yes. This could work. This could work.
Good
All right,
one,
let me know. Let me know. Keep me posted.
Yeah. I'll ask you if you want to join the show.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's see what the standard is and what it is you want me to do exactly. But I do choreography, so I can help you with that. I can help
there we go. There we go.
So back to performing. Did I also read that you did piano?
I did a little bit
Okay.
I mean, Asian household, so yes.
Asian household, you have to do some kind of music, right? You really are Asian. That's it. Rice and nori for lunch and piano. You pass.
100%. 100%.
If anyone had any doubt, there's no doubt now.
Hey, I eat natto too. I don't know if you know what natto is, but it's super Japanese, not for everybody. Fermented slimy beans. It's my favorite thing.
Okay.
So good. But I did piano for like 4 years.
Yeah. So,
and
but basic. So you have like a musical background. Do you feel like all of the things you've done, like your gymnastics and your music, like all of that kind of helps with timing and choreography? Do you feel like one thing has crossed over into another more so than anything else? Like, what is it like discipline wise that you feel has allowed you to be so successful at stunts? Because you're, fantastic. So is it probably the gymnastics background, I would guess?
I think gymnastics has a lot to do with it. I think music can also play with the movement of things. I also did a little bit of dancing for like 5-6 years. But I think I was just so hungry to become good in this industry when I joined. And I always had so many idols and role models ahead of me that I could look up to and be like, I want to do that too,
Yeah.
And then meeting Brett and his team and meeting other teams all over the world and seeing like, man, these people are so talented. So you kind of just like suck all that, knowledge up from everybody. And I just try to kind of put it within myself and be like, okay, there's things I don't enjoy doing for sure, like stunt-wise. I don't like high falls into water. I'm not a water girl, I don't like horse riding. I'm not very good at it. But for me, like just wanting to do martial arts as a kid, I think that also had a lot to play in. Like whenever I met people who did martial arts, I was like, teach me, teach me everything,
I love it. And is it something where you've ever worried about like getting injured, or have you been injured before? Because stunts can be quite dangerous. Like, what is that experience like for you?
I've been injured before. I had a big piece of like bookshelf fall on top of my rib and it winded the hell out of me. Ooh. I don't know if I cracked the rib, but it definitely felt like that. Yeah. We got set on fire, which we do get set on fire quite a bit, but one burn did go wrong and I got very badly burned on my neck and my ears. Wow. So yeah, like not major injuries, but the stunts comes with that little chance of getting injured. Though if when you're with a good team and stuff, usually they're very good, so it's pretty safe. Yeah.
I hear you. It's always something that people wondered about, like back when I would do, they're like, aren't you scared of getting injured? I'm like, well, yes, but like if you're, you don't also film everything all at once. It's like you see a sequence and people think, oh, it's an all-in-one. I mean, nowadays there have been some pretty cool all-in-ones, but like generally speaking, there's a lot of safety. That's a big part of it. Except if you're on a Hong Kong set, there's a lot less safety involved. I'm gonna say they're just kind of like, no, let's get to the next shot and go. Don't worry we don't need to double check things. It's all good. Just go. So it's a different atmosphere working with a Hong Kong choreographer.
Oh man, I can imagine.
I think it's because they come from a place where there's a lot of people waiting to replace the next person, and it's like people are so dispensable, and that sounds so horrible to say, but I think it's a little bit of that and time, like just everything is time, fast. Yeah, so
for sure.
So you've been traveling a lot to Europe, of course, but do you have a favorite place? Do you get to play when you're working and see where you're at, or is it just you're on set working and that's it?
Well, you usually get your 2 days off. So my 2 days, like starting up, I always rest the first like month just because it is a lot to start up that routine. But once I get into the swing of stuff, usually on the weekends, I'll go and explore. I'll rent a car and go look. So my favorite place so far is Romania.
Oh,
I really, yes, it was surprisingly beautiful. And I think I had the best time there. But I guess it was also because the people I was with, it was just a good time. So I'd put that on the top of my list. Budapest was also very, very beautiful.
yeah.
And then Vegas. I loved Vegas,
You did.
Yeah. Yeah. I really loved Vegas. Like looking back on it now, it's like, oh, I would go back. I would go back.
Well, it's not that far from would you say Vancouver? You go to a lot now, so
yeah, exactly.
The West Coast.
I just have to go down a little.
Just a little quick flight, You're so used to flying, so it should be fine.
Sometimes it gets a bit much. Like I think coming onto this job now, like saying goodbye to my dogs and my family, it was a bit harder than usual.
Oh,
yeah. It's I think when I don't get enough breaks in between, it gets a bit difficult to leave.
And do you feel you'll always call Cape Town home?
I would say so. Yes. Because whenever I travel abroad or I'm working abroad, like I always miss just being home.
Yeah.
So I would call it home for sure.
Yeah, I'd love to hear a little bit more about Cape Town too, selfishly because I'm hoping to be there in the fall. And I talked to Chen, and he was like, "Oh my God, I ate, was it sheep's brain or something?" He was like telling me all this food, and I was like, "Okay, let me write this down. I don't know about that one, but okay." I'm pretty adventurous, but I would love to hear what your because I'm all about cultures, and I think travel is just the best way to experience other cultures and learn more about people and know that we are not the center of the universe, that a lot of a lot of people where I live, let's just say, feel that way. And I feel like there's so much out there and people are so amazing, and I love to be, immersed in it. So I'd love to hear kind of through your eyes. I mean, I've heard Langley's version, and he's like, "Oh, here's what I wake up and I see every morning." I'm like, must be nice. It's like over the cliff or whatever. But what is South Africa, and what is Cape Town for you? And your favorite? Like, I love the beef jerky. Tip. That's a good one.
Go for that one for sure. But for me, because I live a 10-minute walk from the beach. So every morning, my dad and I, because I still live with my dad too. I still live with my dad. Absolutely love him. We take the dogs to the beach and we take a nice long walk. It's easy life, and it's super cheap. The food is amazing. You're gonna really love the food. It's so good. On top of that, the weather is just it's perfect. It's the only thing is the crime, which I always say happens everywhere in the world anyways.
Yes.
So when you're traveling, just be smart about it,
Right.
It's But otherwise, I absolutely love Cape Town. It's convenient. And the only thing I would say they need more of is Asian food, like Japanese markets or something.
Yes.
Because we don't have enough of that. Yes.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. So you would call yourself a beach girl then?
I do like the beach. I really do. But I think it's more just the tranquility of walking and just kind of not having to worry about your day. When you're on the beach, you're just enjoying the sound. You're just enjoying the sun. It's that moment where my brain can just switch off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you mentioned your dad, which I love, by the way, that you're so close. Does he worry about you doing stunts when you said, "Hey, here's what I'm going to be doing in my career"? But you've always done gymnastics, which is pretty freaking dangerous, actually. To me,
for sure.
Sometimes more dangerous because there's not a lot of safety. Like you're in the air and you got to hope for the best. At least with stunts, there's things and safety and But does he worry?
He does. I mean, I think he's worried since I started gymnastics. He always said he's scared of me getting injured and things like that. But he's that parent that kind of just you do what you need to do, and I'll always be here. Like my mom as well. They're just I'll always be here to support you. If you need me, I'm a call away type thing. So it's always been, it's been easy with them, but I know that they worry about me. For sure.
Yeah. Plus you're far away. It's I don't know why it makes a difference, but I think if you were working in home, they're not as worried as like you're out of the country, you're so far. I mean, it's still the same danger, but
yes,
I think
exactly.
it's just a feeling, right? Like, oh, but you're so far away. So you tend to get a little bit more worried.
Of course. Yeah.
So what is it you like to do otherwise? So you love the beach, you love to snack at craft services.
Yes, love snacking.
Oh, I think we get along very well, by the way. We have a lot in common. We have a lot in common. We're both introverts. I mean, I would just love to know, like, how do you unwind? Because like the stunt world can be so intense. And I guess other than just go home and sleep and be done. But what do you do to kind of bring yourself down from that? Like, other than if you don't have the beautiful Cape Town beach 10 minutes from your house and you're, you're at the hotel or you're in another country, like, what are the things you do to kind of ground yourself?
It's pretty. So the problem is, like, over the years I found out like my happiness are my dogs. It's weird, but like going back to them, that they help me de-stress, and also when it's been too like socially stimulating and stuff, it's just like having them is amazing. So for me not to have that, the first month is always hard. But because I'm such an introvert, honestly, just coming back home and like sitting on my bed or organizing my apartment or going shopping for food or whatever, that's my like unwinding, just because I don't have my dogs with me.
Yeah, a little bit of normality. Yeah, I think you seem like very routine, and so like having that normality is like comforting, right? Because those are things that you would do at home, I guess, So because I think a lot of people think this is, oh my God, it's so glamorous, and it can be, right? There can be a lot of really exciting things. I worked with Tim Burton, she's like last weekend, but I don't think they realize that it can be really, I would say even sometimes lonely or a little bit like really hard, right? To be away from home and traveling. I think people think it's so glamorous, right? All the time.
Know. Oh yeah. Oh, they're like, oh man, you're so lucky. And I'm like, yes, I'm very grateful. And I'm so lucky to do what I do. But I don't have the comforts of the things that you guys all have at home, So it's like I try to find my comfort anywhere, and like currently where I am, it's so damn expensive. So I'm like, man, it's crazy.
Yeah, I haven't been to Ireland yet, but I know that it rains a lot. That's what I hear.
But I've been so lucky. It's been sun for the past 2 days. It's been amazing. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's fantastic.
So
and am I allowed to know what you're working on now, or I don't remember if you posted that one.
I don't think. I think we still have an NDA, but yes,
it's still
I'm
secret.
Shooting something.
We'll know soon. We'll know soon. I love it. Is there any other projects like that you have kind of like on your wish list? Like you said, oh, I worked with Tim Burton. Are there other directors or other types of shows that you haven't gotten to do yet? You've gotten to do so much already. And I know that you've gotten to do, very different. I mean, The Warrior alone is like such a different kind of dynamic. I know that you can recreate that, but is there a project that you're like, you know what, this is like kind of on my list kind of thing?
There's so many. No, because for me, I want to do more fighting. I want to do more like crazy action, fireworks and stuff.
Okay.
And so every show kind of gives us that. Is there a particular person in general I want to work with? Not really. I think like I'm so open to just work with everybody, and I've been lucky enough to really just work in different places and meet new people. So for me, it's this like it's weird to say, but when I was younger, I would have answered this question a lot differently. But because I'm literally living my dream right now, where I'm getting to work with so many different people, I can't wish for anything more.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's amazing. It's a wonderful place to be, for sure.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And what kind of doggies do you have? What kind of puppies?
I have 3 rescues, so they're Jack Russell mixes.
Okay.
Yes. Wait, let me see if I can do these.
Oh yes, there it is.
Yeah, my babies. Yes. So they're all rescues, and the one was actually from Cirque du Soleil in Vegas.
Really?
Yes.
Wait. How does that work?
I got very lonely without my dogs because I told you I need them in my life. And I was like, I was going to foster her. I was
Okay.
going to foster
Oh,
her.
right, right.
And within 2 weeks of having her, I was like, I can't get rid of her. She was the one with the big underbite.
Oh.
Yes. So her name is Tofu, and she comes from Vegas.
Oh my gosh. So I don't know very much because because I do travel as well. It's like we don't have
Yes.
pets, but like my cousin had to bring back a cat from
Yeah.
Ecuador. And
Okay.
apparently it was like getting it into the country was a whole situation. There was like documentation, like it was
yeah.
harder than adopting a person, I think. And so
Oh,
like
for sure.
was it difficult to bring a dog back?
Oh my gosh. It was an absolute nightmare. It was during COVID. Yeah, it was during like the high of the pandemic. I couldn't even get back. I was stuck in America for 6 months because I couldn't get back. Yeah.
Gosh.
But I had my dog, so I was okay.
Yeah.
But after like 3 vet visits, she had to do like so many vaccinations. Finally, we managed to get her a flight. But all in all, it's so expensive to travel a dog. Like it's ridiculous. It's like 3 times as much as a human ticket.
Right,
So,
right?
Yeah.
That's what I said.
Yeah,
It seems
yeah.
like a lot of trouble to bring a dog back.
It is. It is. I think it's a lot easier now, depending on what country you're going to.
Right.
I think it's a lot easier to travel with them now. But I was like, oh man, that was best decision of my life. But oh my goodness, it was stressful.
So then it is difficult because I thought that it was.
Yes.
Last question is like kind of what advice would you give to other people? Because you seem so encouraging of like everyone can do this, and I'm not sure that's really the case. But what? Because I think you do have to have some sort of skill. But what advice? Because I do hear, because I work with a lot of young martial artists and everything, and I feel like I've been out of the business forever. Like it must have changed since I'm like a dinosaur. But like, what advice would you give to people who are starting into the business or that want to pursue their dreams? Because it feels almost fantastical, right? That you get to do what you do, and you've had such success. But I feel like you could kind of encourage people and give what advice would you give?
Well, my very first one is don't be discouraged by the rejections, because I can tell you now the amount of rejection I got from the beginning, and it's not always. Sometimes you'll get it, sometimes you don't, but the rejection is what gets you to the top. So for me, it was just really hard for the first 5 years. Like I wasn't being recognized because I was also still growing. So the thing is, like, you're not just going to come in and be amazing. You're going to come in, you're going to get rejected, but you're going to work your ass off and like, don't be discouraged by the journey, because it's always going to be like this weird roller coaster, And for me, it's like with every rejection comes a positive. So I'm just like, never give up. And, as long as you work hard and as long as you're really, really going for that and you want this dream, like, it's possible. It really is possible. And even with stunts, if you don't really know stunts and you don't really have a background, you can learn. Go to your martial arts classes, go to some stunt training, go do a little bit of adult gymnastics. It doesn't matter. Like you can do it. It's not impossible. So yeah, I always just say like the world's your oyster. Like it depends on how much you want it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Well, very exciting. Is there any other work that you want to promote other than telling everyone, please watch Warrior on Netflix? Obviously.
Please watch Warrior, yes.
Obviously.
Warrior,
I feel like I've been saying that, on a weekly basis now. And obviously my audience already knows to do that. And that is their job, and to double thumbs up it and all of that. But is there anything else that you want to promote or have people like kind of tune into, and other work that you want people to know about?
Well, just Warrior. I mean, come on. Like, is there anything better than Warrior? No.
I think it's amazing. We're all very excited. We are all waiting for season 4.
Yes.
And I mean, hopefully there'll be some flashbacks where, you and Bolo can be coming back, because, Rich is always like, his fans want to bring Bolo back. So we can have an episode of all the ghosts of
that would be amazing. Oh yeah, I'm down. Count me in.
Because I mean, even though, of course, and it's, and also Perry, of course, Father June. I mean, last season was really sad.
I know.
It was so sad. It was very sad. I was like, oh, I knew it though. I knew that Father June, this was going to be the one, because the season before it was like, oh, he's not dead. So
yeah.
Right?
I know. No,
just like Lai. Apparently Lai had to go to Cirque du Soleil and then she had to come back. Now we know where she went.
Yes.
The farm.
There was a reason.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, it was a really sad season. And I mean, they just can't leave us hanging, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we all have to fight for it now. You know?
I know.
And I think all of us, even Perry and myself, and both, we're still fighting for season 4.
Yes. 100%.
Yeah.
I've spoken to all of you, and you are all still all in. And you know, since you kind of can look and step back and see like what's going to happen next, and I know nobody knows the answers to. Well, some people do, but they wouldn't show. What do you want to happen with the show? What do you want for the remaining characters?
Oh my goodness! Oh no! Don't tell me that. Because you know what, for me, season 3, I know everybody said it left on a cliffhanger, but if in a world where season 4 doesn't happen, I feel like so much happened in season 3 where it's like, okay, you know, I was speaking to Olivia about it as well, and we kind of agreed. It was like, it left on a good enough note that if season 4 didn't happen, it's like, it still kind of makes sense, I guess. But I want Olivia to kick ass in season 4.
Obviously.
Oh, man. I mean, obviously. But I want to see her do like a whole fight between like 500 people. I want to see that.
Basically, at the end of Warrior, Olivia wins. Like a toy wins. And she's wearing something amazing, obviously.
Exactly. She's going to just take over the show.
Yeah, basically, she'll just do a fashion show at the end and all the different outfits, because it's like watching it's like watching Runway every time she comes down that staircase. Sure. It's unbelievable.
Sure.
I have to say, most of the fans I've spoken to, like, they are team a toy, whatever that means.
Man. Oh, 100%.
100%.
Oh, man. Oh, 100%. I'm team a toy.
Well, of course. But in any case, now it was such a pleasure to finally talk to you.
Thank you.
It was really exciting to kind of hear your story and learn about all the stunts that you've been doing and will be doing. And I can't wait to see your directorial debut and in the near future. But hopefully you'll come back and chat with me again, and maybe our paths will cross in South Africa. You never ever know. So you never ever know. If not on that season 4 set, we can just crash the party together now that, you know.
Let's do it. The 2 introverts are coming.
Yeah. I love it. No one will ever see us coming.
Exactly.
All right, Jenny, thanks so much. And we'll see you next time.
Thank you for having me.
That's all for today's episode. Thanks for listening to The Sifu Mimi Chan Show. Please subscribe and rate my podcast on your platform of choice and leave a review. You can become a patron of the show at patreon.com/SifuMimiChan to help keep this podcast going. Follow me and interact on social media at Sifu Mimi Chan on Instagram or Facebook.